The shooting of 2 National Guard soldiers in Washington, D.C. near the White House is not another security incident. It is the latest evidence of a truth that too many Western leaders, including President Trump, still refuse to face. The 1,400 plus year jihadi Muslim ideology is inside the gates of Western countries, and America is still asleep. The suspect, an Afghan national who was trained by the CIA to fight in Afghanistan and who entered the United States under the Biden administration's resettlement plan, he did not act in a vacuum. He acted within a global ideological jihadi ecosystem that has spent decades embedding itself into Western societies through civil rights organizations, charities, student groups, think tanks in Washington, D.C., political positions, university chairs in universities across America, and community institutions. The problem is that America still does not understand jihadi Islam. This is what jihadi Islam is about. Listen.
Why am I migrating here? Why am I in America? The Prophet ﷺ's companions left Mecca to go to a land that had no Muslims. We are in this country purely for the sake of Allah. The moment you make this intention, you will look at things different. People will meet you different. How could it be that your co-workers know you as a Muslim for 10 years? Not once you presented Islam to them. You don't know why your purpose is here. All you guys together, we are in this country for Allah.
As we're here living in the US, what is our role now? What is the way forward? Let me just quote for you an ayah of the Quran, and I'm going to try to encapsulate it. Allah is saying, do not obey the disbelievers. Don't yield to them. And then He gives us the process of what to do next. وَجَاهِدْهُمْ بِهِ جِهَادًا كَبِيرًا. And so make jihad against them.
What is your duty as a member of the Ummah now that you are also an American? It is our physical jihad duty to fight the entire earth until we enter it into the Ummah.
Talking about establishing Islam, and I think that's our jihad, to be honest. For us Muslims living in the West, yes, our jihad is to establish the deen of Allah through all means necessary.
And in that long-range process of making America Muslim, all of America Muslim.
And listen to this.
Allah is not shy of the truth. We don't say that Islam is here to live, to coexist with lots of different religions and all of us can just hold hands and be friends. This religion was sent to dominate the world. It was sent to be superior, to extinguish the light of every other religion and to be superior to it. But we're not shy to say it, and we don't find that to be something that we should be shy to say. That this religion has been sent to dominate, to wipe out, to take out every other religion, to eclipse it, to be superior to it, to have the people leave every religion and to accept Islam. And if that requires fighting to achieve it, then it requires fighting to achieve it. Because the greatest purpose for which jihad was legislated is to make the word of Allah the highest and the word of those who disbelieve the lowest.
And this is what is already happening in Dearborn, Michigan, that has a huge population of Muslims with a Muslim mayor.
Hezbollah, bombed the embassy in Beirut, and including many Americans. So I just feel it's quite inappropriate.
You're an Islamophobe, and although you live here, I want you to know, as mayor, you are not welcome here. And the day you move out of the city will be the day that I launch a parade celebrating the fact that you moved out of the city, because you are not somebody who believes in coexistence.
So if America wants to survive the threat that took 2 National Guard soldiers down just blocks from the White House, then the response cannot stop at pausing immigration from Afghanistan or designated some extremist networks as terror groups. The United States must go further. Any immigrant from any nation who openly supports jihadi Muslim ideology must be expelled from the United States. Period. This is not collective punishment. This is basic self-defense for a nation, for a country. A nation cannot tolerate residents who pledge loyalty to an ideology that openly calls for the destruction of that very nation from the inside. Allowing individuals who embrace jihadi Muslim doctrine to remain inside America means allowing them to implement their worldview, a 1,400-year worldview that rejects constitutional freedoms, denies equal rights, and seeks to replace democratic governance with violent, evil Sharia law theocracy. If anyone supports jihadi Islam, they are not a bystander. They are an active participant in a movement that uses immigration and civil liberties as tools for infiltration. Charlie Kirk himself was more vocal about this exact point before his assassination. Just listen.
We don't talk enough about Islam. There is a red-green axis that is trying to suffocate this country. We talk a lot about the red, which is the Marxist, but we don't talk nearly enough about the Islamist. We don't talk nearly enough about the hundreds of thousands of Muslims that we have voluntarily imported into our country that build mosques, implement Sharia law. I don't know if you guys have this problem in South Carolina or not, but I'm thankfully no. But you go to Minneapolis, you even go to Dallas, you go to New York, and it will metastasize, it will spread. You know why? Because the women of the West, they get cats. The women of Muslims, they have 8 kids. Eventually, it doesn't work very well. It's just a bunch of math. The women of the West have abortions. The women of Muslims, they have entire communities they can fill. When you import one, you get 32, 10 years later, chain migration, all this nonsense. People say, but Charlie, don't you understand that the immigrants make our country better? Hold on a second. Immigration without assimilation is an invasion. We as Americans are being played as suckers as we import hundreds of thousands of people that do not assimilate, take our government benefits, infiltrate, spy, and metastasize. And President Donald Trump has a once-in-a-100-year opportunity to say no more, and you're all going home. We're going to take this country back and restore it once and for all. And some people will say, well, Charlie, that is hateful. That is loving to the nation. Do you know what's hateful? They're being hateful because they actually don't love America. We're simply calling out their hate, and we're meeting their hate with a nice one-way ticket back. And let's talk about what the Bible says. Every time immigration comes up in the Bible, assimilation comes right alongside of it. You must learn the customs. You must learn the language. In the later book of Deuteronomy, Moses' farewell address, he says, be careful who you allow into the nation of Israel, because the foreigner can soon become your master. Boy, Zohran Mamdani becomes the mayor of New York City. The Bible is always true, everybody.
The West has learned this lesson the hard way. The Muslim Brotherhood, supported by Qatar and Turkey, 2 countries that President Trump admires, they have spent decades embedding ideological operators and sympathizers into Western institutions. They exploit open borders, academic visas, charitable organizations, and political activism to weaken democratic societies from within. The United States must treat the Muslim Brotherhood and its affiliated organizations like CARE as an ideological network with security implications, not as ordinary civic religious groups. The documents admitted in the Holy Land Foundation trial, including the 1991 explanatory memorandum, are official evidence in U.S. courts of their hostile intent to destroy America from within. And these are documents America has for decades. That memo declared explicitly that the Muslim Brotherhood's work in America is part of a civilization jihadist process aimed at eliminating and destroying Western civilization and America from within, and sabotaging their miserable house so that God's religion is made victorious over all religions. That's a quote. That is why the Trump administration must not only expose the Muslim Brotherhood's networks and sanction its state sponsors of Qatar and Turkey, it must also ensure that any immigrant who subscribes to jihadi Muslim beliefs or who is tied to Sunni or Shia jihadi organizations who live in America, whether they're organizations like CARE or the Muslim Brotherhood, they must face immediate review and removal, expulsion under immigration law. This policy is not anti-immigrant. It is anti-jihad to save America. It draws a clear moral line. America welcomes immigrants who embrace freedom. America expels those who embrace the 1,400 plus year Islamic ideology of violent domination and destruction of America and all other freedom countries. If America fails to make that distinction and fails to expel all the jihadi Muslims who immigrated into America, then jihadi Islamic ideology will continue to spread within United States borders, take over cities, states, under the protection of the very freedoms it exists to destroy. And it will destroy America from within, as what it is happening in real time in France, in Britain, in Sweden, in Ireland, in Germany, etc. Every country that wants to survive the modern Islamic jihad to take over the world must expel the jihadi Muslims, including the United States must do this, Britain must do this, France must do this, Germany, Canada, and yes, Israel must do it also. No country will survive with a jihadi Muslim population growing within. They're very patient. They've been waiting 1,400 plus years. And until those steps are taken, two nations have become the Muslim Brotherhood's primary state sponsors and strategic lifelines. Qatar, the ATM of Islamic ideology, through billions of dollars in funding, academic investments, media platforms, and charitable fronts. Qatar has enabled Muslim Brotherhood-aligned organizations worldwide. It masks ideological patronage behind cultural diplomacy, university partnerships, while exporting an ideology totally incompatible with freedom, with liberty, with constitutional democracy. And the second country? Turkey, the political headquarters of the Muslim Brotherhood in exile under Erdogan. Turkey transformed into a safe haven for Muslim Brotherhood preachers, media networks, and strategists. From Istanbul, Muslim Brotherhood leadership openly coordinates political messaging, regional influence, and international outreach. These two governments have empowered the most effective Islamist movement in modern history, a movement whose inherents use Western openness as a battlefield. It's not just a Trojan horse. They're already in the gates. This is why the Trump administration must confront Qatar and Turkey. The United States cannot defend itself or American citizens from Islamist infiltration while ignoring the states financing, sheltering, and promoting the largest Islamist organization on earth. That means publicly naming Qatar and Turkey as state sponsors of Muslim Brotherhood ideological activity, investigating and restricting foreign-funded institutions operating under Qatari or Turkish sponsorship or funding, sanctioning networks tied to Muslim Brotherhood or care influence, including financial and media arms, demanding transparency from U.S. academic institutions receiving Qatari or Turkish money, and demanding transparency from all U.S. politicians, federal, state, or local, who receive money from Qatar, the Muslim Brotherhood, CARE, or any other Muslim Brotherhood affiliate organization. If the Trump administration wants to treat jihadist ideology as the threat it is, it must cut off the arteries feeding it and make sure all U.S. politicians getting that money are shamed so it's stopped. There is no other way for the Trump administration to save America or for other leaders to save other countries, including our leaders here in Israel. The bottom line is, anyone who wants their children and grandchildren to inherit liberty rather than domination of Islam and fear, they must stand with the Jewish state of Israel and the Jewish people proudly and powerfully, as we are on the front line confronting this evil jihadi Islam in Israel on behalf of the whole freedom-loving world. We're the front line. And in your own countries, you must demand that your political leaders expel all those who celebrate and practice this 1,400-year Muslim jihadi ideology seeking to destroy us all. This is what we must demand of our leaders in Israel as well. We will overcome. Strengthen your faith in God. But we must wake up the masses. Stop being afraid of saying the wrong thing, of being politically incorrect. Say what needs to be said. Share this message. You want to share this video? Share your own videos? Start writing it. Anyone who believes in destroying America, who immigrated to America, and believes in this 1,400-year Islamic ideology of jihad, they must be expelled. They cannot live in America, or in Germany, or in France, or in Britain, or in Canada, or in Australia, or in New Zealand, or in Sweden, or in Israel. Start saying this truth out loud. We must wake up the masses. Stop being afraid of political correctness. We're going to beat this. Am Yisrael Chai. If you are not yet a subscriber to our daily, belief-based, inspiring, politically incorrect, truthful videos about Israel, the Jewish people, and the freedom-loving world, what are you waiting for? Go to pulsevisual.com and click to subscribe today. And yes, we are a donor-based operation. We need your donations for support in order to make these videos and get our videos seen and do all the work we do. So every once in a while, whether a large donation or a small donation, just go to pulsevisual.com and click on the donate button. Shalom, everyone, and thanks for watching.
Pulse of Israel, frontline videos from the Holy Land. Support our work by donating today.